It is not the peaceful waters that make you a skilled sailor, it is the storm. Hard times, they do not come to break you, they come to show you who you really are. In life, we all encounter hardship. Whether it is loss, failure, betrayal, or simply exhaustion, these are universal experiences. But the question is not, why is this happening to me? The question is, what can I learn from it? In Shaolin, we learn this through discipline. Every difficult movement, every cold morning, every hungry moment, it teaches us something. And that teaching is resilience. You thrive in hard times not by escaping pain, but by moving through it with purpose. When you train your mind to remain calm, even when your body is shaking, you begin to discover a deeper power, a power no one can take from you. Let us understand something clearly. The body is limited. The mind is not. The situation is difficult, but your attitude is your own. You cannot always control life, but you can master your response. True growth happens not when everything is easy, but when everything is hard and you still choose discipline over doubt, peace over panic, and movement over stagnation. The lotus flower grows in the mud. Without the mud, there is no lotus. So do not curse the mud. Use it. You are not meant to be buried by hardship. You are meant to rise from it. But to rise, you must train daily. You must practice patience, clarity, humility, and strength of will. When you become the master of your inner world, the outer world cannot shake you. In every human life, difficulty is inevitable. Some people believe hardship is a sign that they are on the wrong path, but in truth it is often a sign that they are finally walking the right one. The path to mastery of the body, of the mind, and of life itself is never smooth. It is forged through struggle, tested in uncertainty, and revealed in adversity. When a practitioner begins his training in the monastery, the first lesson is not how to fight, nor how to meditate, but how to endure. Because endurance is the foundation upon which all other skills are built. To accept the challenge is to embrace the furnace of transformation. Resistance is what creates suffering. But when you stop resisting and start engaging, something powerful begins to awaken within you. Hard times are invitations. Invitations from life itself, asking you, how much have you grown? They ask, can you remain calm when everything is chaotic? Can you keep moving when you feel no motivation? These are the tests that separate the student from the master, the reactive from the resilient. Most people try to run away from these trials. They hope for comfort, security, and smoothness. But like a blade that has never touched fire, they remain soft, fragile, untested. A warrior is not afraid of difficulty. He does not wish for easier circumstances. He prepares for stronger storms. This is not arrogance. This is alignment with nature. The tree does not complain about the winter. It does not beg for the sun. It adapts, and it survives. That is its strength. And that same strength is available to you, if you choose to stop fighting against the challenge and instead stand within it. Many people spend years of their lives asking, why is this happening to me? This question leads nowhere. It traps you in a spiral of blame, regret, and helplessness. But the mind of the Shaolin monk is trained to ask a different question. What is this trying to teach me? This shift in thinking is small but powerful. One keeps you stuck. The other sets you free. The person who accepts the challenge does not pretend that things are easy. He does not lie to himself. Instead, he accepts reality fully, without resistance. He faces the pain directly, like a martial artist stepping into the ring, not out of anger, but out of respect for the opportunity to grow. Every hardship, every struggle, every moment of pressure, these are your training grounds. You don't need to enjoy them, but you must not reject them. Learn to greet the challenge as a teacher, not an enemy. When you change your relationship with hardship, your life begins to change in quiet but powerful ways. You stop waiting for life to become easy. You stop resenting the effort, and you begin to find meaning in the challenge itself. This does not make you passive, it makes you deeply alive. You begin to walk differently. You start to breathe more consciously. You start to train with a different level of intensity, not because someone told you to, but because now you understand the fire you are walking through is refining you. You are not a victim. You are not broken. You are becoming. The hardship is not destroying you, it is uncovering the parts of you that were always strong, but had never been called upon. When you accept the challenge, you move into alignment with your true self. You walk the path of the warrior, the path of the sage, the path of the human being who refuses to be defined by fear, and instead is defined by courage. The body is visible. Its growth, its strength, its movement, all of it can be observed. This is why people so often focus on the body, because it gives immediate results. A few days of effort and your muscles begin to ache. A few weeks of discipline and your posture starts to change. But the mind is invisible. Its strength is silent. Its development cannot be measured in the mirror. And because of this, many people neglect it. They walk through life with physical strength but mental weakness, easily distracted, emotionally unstable, lost in thought. The truth is, the mind requires training just like the body. It needs repetition, it needs discipline, it needs stillness, and it needs stress. Just like lifting weights builds your muscles, facing discomfort consciously and consistently builds your mental resilience. Training the mind begins with awareness. This is the first principle. You must learn to observe your thoughts without immediately reacting to them. Most people live in a storm of mental noise, pulled by desires, fears, judgments, memories. They are not present. They are not grounded. They are mentally somewhere else, always. The Shaolin practitioner learns to return to the breath, return to the moment, return to the silence beneath the chaos. This is not something that happens overnight. It takes effort. Sitting still is not easy. Being alone with your own thoughts is not easy. But just like holding a deep stance in martial arts, the difficulty is the training. The discomfort is the process. If your legs are shaking, you are growing. If your mind is resisting, you are practicing. Meditation is not about emptying the mind. It is about strengthening it, creating space between stimulus and response, cultivating the ability to remain still, even when the world moves around you. Another principle in mental training is consistency over intensity. Just like you cannot go to the gym once a month and expect to become strong, you cannot meditate or self-reflect occasionally and expect clarity. The mind is shaped by what it is fed daily. If you are feeding it distractions, negativity, and shallow stimulation, then it becomes restless and weak. If you feed it silence, intention, and focus, it becomes powerful. Mental strength is not just about enduring pain. It is also about directing your attention. In a world filled with noise, your ability to focus becomes your superpower. And focus, like any skill, improves with practice. Every time you choose not to react emotionally, every time you choose to observe instead of judge, every time you bring yourself back to the present moment, you are doing a repetition. You are training. You are forging a mind that is no longer a slave to outer conditions. Finally, to train the mind is to face your inner world without fear. Most people look outward for solutions. They change jobs, relationships, environments, thinking this will bring them peace. But peace does not come from rearranging the outside. It comes from mastering the inside. This requires courage. The courage to confront your anger, your fear, your insecurities, not to suppress them, but to understand them, to meet them with compassion and discipline. At the Shaolin Temple, we say you must face yourself to free yourself. There is no other way. A strong mind is not one that never feels pain. It is one that knows how to stay grounded within the pain. It is one that chooses its response with clarity. That strength is not gifted. It is trained day by day, breath by breath, through silence, movement, failure, and repetition. Like a sword that is sharpened over fire and stone, so too must the mind be shaped by challenge and intention. Many people wait to feel inspired before they begin. They wait for the perfect mood, the right atmosphere, a burst of energy. But the truth is, motivation is unreliable. It is like the wind. It changes direction without warning. It arrives and disappears according to its own rhythm. If you build your life on motivation, you will find yourself constantly starting and stopping, rising and falling. You will have days of great effort followed by long stretches of inaction. This is because motivation is an emotion, and like all emotions, it is temporary. Discipline, however, is a decision. It does not depend on how you feel. It is rooted not in emotion, but in commitment. The Shaolin monk does not train only when he feels like it. He trains because it is his path, because it is his vow. Discipline is greater than motivation because it carries you forward when your feelings would otherwise hold you back. Discipline is not harshness, it is not punishment, it is self-respect in motion. It is saying to yourself, my goals matter more than my moods. When you practice discipline, you are training your ability to lead yourself. You become the one who decides, instead of letting your impulses decide for you. This is a powerful transformation. Imagine a man who only acts when he feels motivated. He becomes a prisoner of inconsistency. Now imagine a man who acts daily, regardless of his feelings. He becomes a force of nature. The world may be chaotic, but he remains steady. His emotions may rise and fall, but his actions remain grounded. Discipline creates this stability. It is the bridge between desire and achievement, between who you are and who you can become. Without it, all dreams remain abstract. With it, even the impossible becomes reachable. Many people misunderstand discipline. They believe it is something you either have or you don't. But this is not true. Discipline is not a talent. It is a habit. It is built, like muscle, through repetition and effort. In the monastery, the first test is not skill, it is consistency. Can you wake up before the sun? Can you sit in meditation every day without fail? Can you repeat a simple movement thousands of times without complaint? These tasks may seem small, but they shape something deep within. They build the inner architecture of willpower. Over time, your mind begins to shift. You no longer need to convince yourself to act. Action becomes your natural state. The resistance grows weaker, the excuses disappear, and in their place is rhythm, momentum, strength. Discipline liberates you from the trap of inconsistency. There will be days when your body is tired, your mind is clouded, and your spirit feels dull. These are the moments when discipline reveals its power. Because on those days, you will still show up. You will still walk, even if slowly. You will still practice, even if silently. And this is how greatness is built, not in short bursts of excitement, but in steady waves of action repeated over time. When you understand this, you begin to treat discipline not as a burden, but as a gift. It gives you direction when you're lost. It gives you movement when you're stuck. It gives you identity. Because the disciplined man does not ask, "Who am I today?" He knows. He is the one who continues, regardless. He is the one who does not wait to feel ready. He is ready because he trained to be ready. This is the essence of discipline, and this is why it must become your foundation. In today's world, people are constantly in motion, not purposeful motion, but restless motion. Their bodies are rushing, their minds are racing, and their spirits are exhausted. They fill their time with noise, their environments with distractions, and their thoughts with worry. In this state, clarity cannot exist. Strength may arise briefly, but it fades just as quickly. This is why in the Shaolin tradition we are taught to observe nature and to learn from its stillness. The mountain does not move with the wind. The river does not resist the stone. The tree does not force the seasons to come faster. It simply aligns with the rhythm of life. The wisdom of nature is silent, but profound. When we become quiet enough to listen, we realize that our most powerful teacher was always around us, waiting. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of awareness. When you sit in stillness, you are not doing nothing. You are doing something incredibly difficult. You are resisting the pull of distraction. You are creating a space between thought and action. In that space, you discover the strength of restraint, the depth of perception, and the beauty of simplicity. Just like a pond must be still for the reflection to appear, the mind must become still for clarity to emerge. Most people believe they are too busy to be still, but in truth, they are too untrained. Stillness is a discipline, and within it lies immense power. It is in stillness that the warrior recovers, the monk reflects, and the human reconnects. Without it, we are lost in noise, reactive, anxious, disconnected. With it, we begin to observe more clearly, breathe more deeply, and live more intentionally. Nature also teaches us that true strength is not loud or forceful. It is subtle, consistent, and balanced. Consider bamboo. It bends in the wind, but does not break. Its strength lies not in resistance, but in flexibility. Or consider water. It appears soft, yet over time it carves through rock. Its power is not in its force, but in its persistence. This is the same with internal strength. It is not always visible, but it is always present. The person who learns from nature becomes like nature, adaptable, calm, resilient. In Shaolin training, we imitate animals, elements, and natural forces because they hold ancient truths. The tiger teaches ferocity, but also patience. The crane teaches balance, but also awareness. Each movement is rooted in stillness. Each action flows from observation. Nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. We must learn to flow with life, not force it. In stillness, we reconnect with our essence. We remember that we are not separate from the natural world. We are a part of it. The tree does not fear the storm because it has deep roots. We too must develop inner roots, values, practices, awareness that hold us steady when life becomes chaotic. The mind that is always reacting becomes brittle. The mind trained in stillness becomes like water, calm, deep, and adaptable. It does not break under pressure. Instead, it absorbs, adjusts, and continues. In a world that glorifies noise, productivity, and constant movement, stillness becomes an act of rebellion and an act of healing. It is in stillness that we recover our strength, rediscover our path, and return to the quiet wisdom that exists within and around us at all times. The more we learn from nature, the more aligned we become with life itself, and this alignment brings peace that no external success can offer. Pain is often misunderstood. In our modern culture, we are taught to avoid it, suppress it, or numb it. We are conditioned to believe that pain is something bad, a mistake, a punishment, or an interruption to our happiness. But from the perspective of the Shaolin path, pain is not your enemy. It is a messenger, a signal from the body, the mind, or the soul, trying to communicate something deeper. Just as physical pain tells you that your body is injured or misaligned, emotional and spiritual pain are signs that something within you requires attention, care, or growth. The mistake is not in feeling pain. The mistake is in ignoring it. When you numb pain, you silence your own inner wisdom. You deny yourself the opportunity to listen, to understand, and ultimately to heal. We must learn to sit with pain, not flee from it. This is not easy, and it requires courage. But if you have the strength to stay present with your pain, you will begin to hear what it is trying to teach you. Pain says, here is where you are still holding on. Pain says, this is the area where you have not yet grown. Pain says, you are misaligned with your truth. In this way, pain becomes a guide, showing you the very path you need to walk. In the monastery, when your legs burn during training or your breath shortens during meditation, you do not stop, you do not run, you become more aware, you adjust your posture, you observe your resistance, you go deeper. This is not suffering for suffering's sake. This is conscious confrontation. This is how transformation begins, not in comfort but in honest, direct engagement with the parts of you that hurt. Many people believe they must be pain-free in order to live well. But the truth is, to live fully, you must be willing to experience the full range of life, and that includes pain. Pain is a part of growth, just as friction is a part of sharpening a blade. A seed must break open for the plant to grow. A muscle must tear slightly to become stronger. A mind must be challenged to become wiser. So why then do we run from discomfort? Because we have forgotten that pain is temporary, but the lessons it teaches are permanent. The warrior does not avoid pain, he trains through it. He learns where the edge is, where the weakness lies, and he uses that knowledge to become stronger. You cannot strengthen what you avoid. You cannot understand what you suppress. But if you face it, even gently, even slowly, it will reveal its purpose. There is also a deeper kind of pain, the pain of the heart, the pain of loss, the pain of emptiness. These two are teachers. They teach compassion. They teach humility. They remind us that life is precious, that nothing is guaranteed, and that love is worth the risk of loss. This kind of pain softens the ego and deepens the soul. It is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to reshape you into someone more open, more present, more alive. Do not harden yourself against pain. Instead, become spacious enough to hold it. You are not weak for feeling pain. You are human. And your strength does not come from pretending it doesn't exist. It comes from facing it with grace, with patience, and with the silent understanding that this too is part of the journey. Pain does not come to close you. It comes to open you, if you are willing to listen. Hard times will come. This is not a curse. It is a condition of life. What determines your path is not how soft or hard the world becomes, but how still, how disciplined, and how inwardly rooted you remain when the storm arrives. You have within you the same strength that holds up the mountain, the same clarity that runs through rivers, the same stillness that rests in the forest. But you must return to it, not through wishing but through practice, not through escape but through understanding. Pain will visit you, doubt will whisper, fatigue will knock on your door, but remember, you have trained for this. Every moment of discipline, every breath of silence, every act of self-awareness has prepared you. Do not ask for an easier life. Ask for a stronger mind, a calmer heart, and the discipline to rise. This is the way of the practitioner. This is the way of the warrior. And this is the way forward.